What's the crack, lads? This is an emergency episode of the Rebel Matters podcast. I just spent the last 45 minutes or so talking to Carol Bridgeman, who is right at this very moment in time occupying the Patrick Street Debenhams store with 7 other Debenhams workers on the 153rd day of their strike action against Debenhams and KPMG. Debenhams closed very suddenly 153 days ago, and the workers are now looking for a fair and just redundancy package, and their demands have not been met. So they've been on strike in the different stores around the country in the 26 counties, and yesterday they brought that strike to the next level when they occupied a building in Dublin where the workers were arrested, and that occupation was finished pretty fast, but the workers in Cork are still in there right now. So during the chat with Carol, we talked about the lead up to the strike itself, and then the occupation, the conditions that they're living under at the minute while they're in there, and what they're looking for from KPMG. And we also discussed the support or lack of support that they've got from different quarters since the strike started. And I want to get this episode out straight away because the sit-in is going to continue until tomorrow, Thursday the 10th of September, and there's going to be a rally in support of the workers at around 1 o'clock in the Patrick Street, outside the Patrick Street store in Cork City. So have a listen to this, lads, because this is something that we all need to get behind. The Debenhams workers deserve our support and our encouragement, and they're not only taking this action for a just redundancy package for themselves, but they are taking a stand for workers all over the country, and they're making massive sacrifices in their own lives to take this action, as you'll hear from Carol. So have a listen to it and get behind the workers in whatever way you can, whether it's sharing stuff on social media, keeping up to speed with what's happening with their strike, talking to your friends about it, and getting down to one of the rallies if you're able to do that to show your support in person. A massive Grammy Lamaiga to Carol for taking the time to record this as well. So here we go, episode 80 of the Rebel Matters podcast.
I am in a canteen in Debenhams in Patrick Street store, and we are doing an occupation in there at the moment.
And
so, yeah.
How did you get in?
A bit inventive. We actually went in on Tuesday morning, and we went in at the early hours of the morning. So there was actually a ladder inside. And we got up that onto the roof, and there was a window open then into the canteen that we actually climbed through. So there was 8 of us that got in that way.
And is there 8 of you still in there now?
There is still currently 8 of us in there. There's 2 guys and there's 4 women. We have various stores represented. So I myself represent Mountain Point in Cork. We have 2 members from Tralee, Debenhams Tralee, that travelled up to support us with our ventures, and we have 3 from Patrick Street store. So then we have 1 supporter that has come in to help support us and do a lot of different things for us.
And the other, there's another occupation in Dublin at the minute as well?
No, that occupation was in tandem with ourselves yesterday morning. No, they were successful in gaining entry into the store, but unfortunately, when the Gardaí came along, they actually arrested the staff. They arrested the staff members and all involved in the occupation up there. So they arrested them and escorted them out from the building. They brought them to the local Garda station. and they did release them not long afterwards. Now, whether that's pending, what is it? Pending investigation, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Have you had any kind of contact with the guards down here?
We did. I must say now, I mean, we were in the store here for 2.5 hours before anyone showed up. So we did, when we got in, we went into the canteen. We did not leave the canteen because, I mean, we came in here as a peaceful protest to make a point not to do any criminal damage or not to be, our situation was to go in to make a point. So we stayed in the canteen. Now we did get news that there was the arrest made up in Henry Street store before the Gardaí even arrived into Patrick Street. Now, bearing in mind, we were in here for about 6:15, and it was near on 9 o'clock before the Gardaí and the security came in and started having talks with us. So the Gardaí did come in. They did speak to Valerie, she would be the representative from Patrick Street store. So they were very good. I must say now, they were brilliant. They came along, they took everybody's name and phone number, contact number, and then they went out. They had discussions with the security personnel that's in the store. And then they came back in, and it was the superintendent came into us. He did ask us a lot of questions now about our welfare, our well-being, and making sure that we had food and that we know health issues or anything like that while we were in the building. Valerie had outlined that we were here, that we were stayed in this occupation until Thursday, and they were quite happy and they were quite agreeable for us to do that on the basis that everything that they asked us was adhered to. So yeah, they were quite happy. So they were happy enough for us to stay in the building, and they left then and we stayed behind.
And I seen on the Facebook page that you posted a video there, I think it was yesterday, about getting the food in. Was there difficulty in getting food in initially to you?
Yes, it was. It took 7.5 hours literally yesterday to get food in. No, I mean, as you can imagine, I mean, tempers were a bit frayed between security and stuff like that in KPMG yesterday, because this is the last thing that they want and they need, especially with pending business or whatever is that they have going on with them. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, a little bit of respect and, a bit of courtesy. I must say now, we have been so respectful. We have been so understanding and trying to just, we're here to make a point. We're not here for arguments. We're not here to cause trouble or cause distress to anybody. But unfortunately, tempers were a bit frayed yesterday. We did request some supplies yesterday at 12 o'clock, the likes of milk and stuff like that. And then some people were sending in sandwiches, and we asked, would that be facilitated? But security had to contact KPMG. KPMG didn't get back until we further pushed it even through the media platform last night. So it was about maybe 7:30 last night by the time the media campaign stepped up and everything, and then they allowed us to get food into the store, hot food for the workers.
And did you think that it was like very much down to the kind of public getting behind you and putting pressure on them that they actually let the food through in the end?
I have no doubt it was only because of that, because other than that, it would not have gotten in here. They did not want to go out of their way in here for anything. Now, saying that, I mean, they're in here to do a job security-wise and stuff like that. We're not looking for babysitters. But unfortunately, we're not in a position that we can go down and open the door and bring this stuff up. Otherwise, we would do it. But because we are confined now to the canteen, every access area out of the canteen has been closed off and has been restricted to us. So there's blockades going on in every exit. So we are restricted to the canteen. We have access to the toilet, and then we have a security personnel in the canteen overseeing what we're doing and watching us. So we don't have the luxury of going down to the door and taking in food ourselves.
Yeah. What's the environment in there, like the atmosphere amongst the workers that are inside?
And like that, it is very, very good. Like that, I mean, our intention was to come in here and have a dignified occupation. We did not want to be any trouble. We didn't want any hassle. It is peaceful in so far as we can get it, and like that, there's nobody here for arguments or anything. So we just, we're in here. We're in here for a duration of time. That's what we want to do. We are self-sustaining as much as what we possibly can. We keep ourselves busy, active, and we just want to get on.
Yeah. Is the intention that did you mention there that you're intending to stay in there until Thursday?
Yes, we will be here until Thursday, until tomorrow at I think it's about lunchtime.
Yep. So you've had a bit of support outside the shop as well, around 1 o'clock today and yesterday as well, haven't you, from members of the public who've been coming
Yes,
down?
we've had. I know there was rallies yesterday at 1 o'clock, and again at 6 o'clock yesterday evening, and then again at 1 o'clock today. I know it was live streaming on social media, and the support that we've been getting from friends, family, work colleagues, from everyone has been absolutely amazing. I mean, they've been coming down to the back windows to us just to wave up and everything, and it's just inspirational that there's so much support out there for us.
And Carol, what's the background to this occupation for people who might not be familiar with the strike that's been ongoing?
Okay, a bit of background to the company. Well, personally, I've worked for the company for the past 15 years. When Debenhams first came to Cork, which was 15 years ago, it was new, it was exciting. I had all the brands and the names and all the rest, and it was exciting to start to work for them. After a couple of years, again, we started when it was the Celtic Tiger, and times were good, money was good. I mean, there was a lot of money to be made down in Mahon Point. So then Debenhams actually bought into the ex-Rocha stores. So they bought over nine of the stores with ex-Rocha stores, and opened them and traded them as Debenhams, which was fantastic. And I mean, that brought them from 2 stores up to 11 stores almost overnight. After that, obviously, with the Celtic Tiger, the bubble burst, recession started kicking in. Then we started going to the table, and it was a ritual. Then year after year, we were up for national negotiations. We were taking pay cuts, we were taking hour cuts, we were getting redundancy packages. And I mean, like that, as what happened to any other company, we'd done what we possibly could to maintain jobs and ensure stores stayed open. That was our main focus on a national level. So we did take the hits, we did take the falls. And then, I mean, last year I was part of the national negotiation team. And I mean, like that, again, the company was coming up. We do need to do negotiations. We do need cuts, this, that, and the other thing. But we managed to get a 1% pay cut in the start of January and an extra 1 day's holidays. So even though it wasn't big monetary value, it was a little bit of something, and it was a bit of a boost for our staff. So that was all exciting at the back end of last year, at the start of this year. But then before Christmas, the company it was just gradually taking away departments within the store. So say like our big main brands, Ted Baker, John Rocha, they all started leaving the stores. After Christmas, our toy department, which has massive sales and make massive profits for the company, they went to half price after Christmas, which meant that we were getting rid of them. So there was a bit of a shuffle around, and things weren't sitting well, and there was an awful lot of movement unnecessarily, especially with big profit making departments. So then when just before COVID started, the English leg of the company went into administration. So with the administration, then there was press releases from the CEO saying that, the UK arm has gone into administration. That will have no direct implications for the Debenhams Ireland stores or otherwise. So 2 days later, we received a generic email stating that the company is gone. The company no longer has the assets and no longer has the support from the Debenhams UK. So therefore, the company will be going into liquidation. Jobs are gone. good luck, goodbye. Go on to gov.ie and revenue.ie for support.
And that was a very
So
sudden kind of, you just kind of found out about that kind of overnight pretty much?
That was on a Thursday morning, 2 days after receiving an email from the CEO of the company guaranteeing that we weren't going to be affected. But yet 2 days later, our jobs were gone.
And then, so how many days have you been taking this action now?
We are now in 153 days.
And so, if I'm right to say, it's like the case that the workers are making is that you deserve a fair redundancy package. And
back in 2016, the company went the Irish arm of the company went into administration. During that administration, there was a collective redundancy package made at that time, and I mean, like that, the offer was put on the table. It was voluntary redundancies, and they got the numbers, which ultimately meant there was cost saving in the company with these redundancies and with these high paying jobs and stuff like that. So that the collective redundancy package at that time was 2+2. Now the one prior to that was 2+3. And in our workers' handbook, it's actually 2+4. So when we first started 15 years ago, we would have gotten 2+4. Then that was lowered to 2+3. And then in 2016, it was lowered again to 2+2. So
sorry, that means 2 weeks. That means 4 weeks redundancy pay for every year of service. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah. So that's 2 weeks statutory, and then 2 weeks from the company. So the statutory comes from the government, and the 2 weeks then comes from the company. So that's why it's 2+2.
Yeah. And so what was the response the KPMG gave you when you looked for that?
That there's no money in the pot, that they can't sanction it. I mean, that's why they put the offer on the table is the €1 million, and that is a massive shortfall as to what staff are actually looking for and entitled to. You see, with the liquidation, unfortunately there is a process to that. I mean, when the liquidation goes through and all the assets are sold off and all the money is after being recouped from the assets and put into bank accounts and all the creditors then are paid off, we are at the back end of the creditor list. So you have KPMG that will get paid first, then you have revenue, then you have other creditors under that, and then we're down towards the bottom. So everyone else will get paid, and then what's left towards the bottom, that's when staff will get paid.
And just to go back on a point that you made there about when Debenhams came in 15 years ago to Cork, I was speaking to a couple of the women who were on the picket line who have given 25 or 30 years of service to those stores, yes, like before they even became Debenhams when they were Roaches stores. And so what kind of reaction have you got from the government? Have they been supporting you, or have they got behind you at all?
A little bit of a mixed bag really from the government, and I mean it's very, very disappointing for us workers to be listening to it. There was quite a lot of us. We did go up to Dublin. We did meet with TDs. We did meet with ministers, senators. We met with a lot of politicians. Some of them came down onto our picket lines. They got photo opportunities with us and everything, which is all well and good, and it's great. You know, I mean, these are high-profile people within the country. They're coming down to the picket line. And, you know, I mean, maybe we are a bit naive and everything like that. And we would think, you know, they're coming down. They're going to help us. Yes, we're optimistic. This is great. They're coming down. But ultimately, I mean, after 153 days, there's nothing done. And the package and proposal that came out last week was an absolute disgrace to the pay. And I mean, a complete insult to the staff that would be involved in voting in that. It was a complete insult to all of us.
And you see the way that they're saying that the money isn't there, like the kind of message that I'm kind of picking up from reading about it online and from keeping track of the Facebook page and stuff that you have is that there's more than enough money there in the stock that's in the stores to without a doubt. There is 11 stores, right? There's four in Dublin, there's 2 in Cork, Tralee, Waterford, Limerick and Galway, right? So therefore, between the 11 stores, there's roughly about €25 million worth of stock between those 11 stores. So
Now,
you're looking at it as like they're kind of like looking to keep all that profit for themselves and not look after the workers. Is that what's happening? Is it?
well, I mean, they're looking to say the proceeds from that they've um they've worked down the money. They play down the amount of money that's involved. So they're given a lower figure. And they're only saying that it's only worth about 10 or 11 million. I mean, we're workers in that store. We know for a fact that the stock in each of them stores is worth over €1 million.
Yeah.
Between what's out on the shop floor and in our stock rooms, we know and we realise the value of that stock is a hell of a lot more than 1 million in each store.
Mm.
The ultimate value, I think the value of stock inside in Patrick Street that's after stock take, which only happened there during the liquidation process, so that has still not been touched, has been roughly about 4.5 million. So that's in one store alone.
Wow.
Right, and Patrick Street is quite a big store. So, I mean, even downsize that to, say, our own store down at Mahon Point, I would imagine that the stock value in Mahon Point would roughly be between about maybe 3.5 million.
And have you got any support from other politicians outside of the ones that are in government?
I mean, like that locally, we do get a lot of politicians that come down onto the protests and stuff like that. We have had a lot of support. I must say, huge support and huge call out to the Solidarity Party and People Before Profit. I mean, the Solidarity Party for us here in Cork has been phenomenal. We wouldn't be where we are today without them. The support, the work that they do for us, the advice that they give us and everything has been exceptional. The support on the picket lines, the support with even getting ticketing and banners done, small basic things, but also big mighty things as well. They've supported us throughout.
And like, see at this stage of the protest, like, is there 153 days in? Like, what is it that you want in terms of support from the government, and what is it you want from KPMGs to be able to bring this kind of like action to like a mutually kind of beneficial end?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, KPMG can do nothing without the government's authorisation and the government instruction. So the government really need to take its head out of its arse now at this stage and sit up, see what we're actually going through in here. I mean, we're not going through this very lightly. I mean, this week alone, while I'm in here, my 4-year-old daughter, started school this morning, and I was not there for her very first day at school. I mean, these are sacrifices we're prepared to make, and we have made in order to get what we feel is right and just. So the government really needs to take its finger out, get into negotiations, get a deal on the table, make sure there's money in the pot. I mean, we're sick of listening. There's no money there. There's no money there. Leo Varadkar coming out today. There is no money there. We know Debenhams is gone. We're not stupid. We're not naive. Debenhams is gone. But there is money there. There is assets there. It's in each of the stores. That's why 153 days we've had blockades and pickets on the gates to block them assets being stripped out of the stores before we get a chance to negotiate any deals. That's where our assets are going to come from. And it's up to the government to give instruction to KPMG to release these assets to the staff and make sure that we get a fair and just redundancy package.
You kind of touched on something that I was going to ask you about anyway, is like, what has it been like in terms of the impact that this strike has had on, say, your life and the lives of the other people who have been going down to the picket line every day for the last 153 days? It must be very stressful.
In a nutshell, yes. I must say, I don't think I would have been able to be one person that would sit back and just watch someone else do it. That's not in my nature, unfortunately. I am so glad to be part of it. I am so proud of what we have achieved. Don't get me wrong, it has been so hard. It has been soul destroying at the best of times. It has been huge impact on the family life. I mean, like I said, I'm in here when my 4-year-old daughter started school this morning. Her first photograph of her in her school uniform was sent on to me. I wasn't there to witness it, see her, kiss her goodbye. Those things were gone, but they were, I mean, I came in here knowing that, and it was a sacrifice that I knew I had to take. This is something I don't think I could have you know, the opportunity that was there for me to do it outweighed everything else. And it's more than just about me. It's more than just about my daughter. It's about all the lives that are throughout the 11 stores of Debenhams. There's over 1,000 staff members affected. And each and every one of us need to stand up and, you know, we do make the sacrifices. We do take the blows, but thankfully, I mean, the support that has come in, even the last number of days, has been absolutely tremendous. And it's been inspirational for us to realize that we have we have the support from the public, from, I mean, celebrities, from everyone has been fantastic.
And I suppose in a similar way that when the Vita Cortex workers had the sit-in, and I think that must have been about 10 or 11 years ago, because it was just after I had moved to Cork originally. But
Yes.
it's not just about Debenhams, it's about workers' rights in general as well, going forward from here, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I mean, we never knew at the start of this process about the Duffy Cahill report. Nobody had one idea. Nobody kind of kept tabs on Cleary's when back in 2016 that they closed down and they had all the trouble and the strikes. And I mean, for us down in Cork, that was happening up in Dublin. Yes, we were aware of it. We were on top of it a little bit, but not too much because it had no direct impact on us. What we didn't realise until the start of this process was the Duffy Cahill report was born out of the Cleary's action. But that report was sitting in government buildings gathering dust. And if that report had been enacted into law, we would have been in a far safer position now than we should have been. I mean, if the government paid hundreds and thousands to get this report drafted up, and then for it to sit gathering dust it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and we wouldn't be in this situation if that had been enacted into law.
Yeah, so is that kind of something that you're looking at getting kind of sorted as part of this action that you're taking now?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, as soon as we realised that this report was there, I mean, we felt that this had to be realised, not just for us, but for every worker going forward. I mean, I bring my kids down onto the picket line. I do not want to see my kids on the picket line when they're in employment. I want to make sure that they have better working rights than what we do now currently.
Yeah. And, you know, what do you want people to do? Like the people that are listening to this and just the members of the public, like what can people do and what do you want them to do to get behind you?
I like that. Come out and support us on the picket lines, be it down in Mahon Point, be it in Patrick Street, Limerick, Galway, wherever people are, support us on the picket lines. Please, we are finding it very, very difficult to maintain because like that we do, I mean, it's just unfortunate the time of the year, the kids going back to school, college courses, and people finding employment. And I mean, obviously life does go on, but we do have to maintain pickets on the gates to protect the assets. But we also we are also hoping that people would talk to their politicians, their local TDs, get them to get this Duffy Cahill report on the agenda to make sure it's implemented, and also say to them, I mean, what's happening with the Debenhams workers is not fair, it's not right, it's not just, it could be us tomorrow. So it's just even getting out on social media and just asking the question, what are you doing for the Debenhams workers today?
And you have the page, the Debenhams page, which is called Stand with the Debenhams Workers on Facebook that people can go and check out.
Yeah, people can certainly go into that and I mean leave comments and I mean like the page, leave a comment there and it'd be brilliant. I mean the support, like I said, has been unbelievable. It's
even good just for people to go there and to be able to keep up with what's happening, because that seems to be where the kind of latest developments are getting posted there. So that's kind of what I've been using to keep up with speed with stuff. And here, Carol, you know, like, are you just going to keep this going until you just get what is our owed and what you deserve?
Yes. I mean, after 153 days, it would absolutely be soul destroying not to be able to continue on with it. Vita Cortex reached 161 days before they got a settlement. I mean, we're 153 days, so we're 8 days shy of where they were. But if it takes until Christmas, we are prepared to do that. We are prepared to do whatever it takes.
I think like looking from the outside, like you look unbreakable, and I know that a lot of people are looking at this with a lot of admiration, and the stand that you're after taking, and the fact is that you're after taking up with, like, we're talking about a massive company here, like, and just people who are workers who've given many years of service standing up against them to get what is owed, like.
Yeah, it's nothing more than what we've earned. I mean, after 15 years, I mean, the commitment, the dedication, and I mean, like that, people done whatever they could for the company. They made sure they sold the services, they sold the stock. They worked double hard when there was a reduction in staff numbers, when there was a reduction in hours. We worked to the bone. We literally did work to the bone, and every staff member would have been doing that. Terms and conditions were turned on their head. Whatever you needed to work, you done it. You worked around everything. You done whatever the company needed to keep the company afloat and keep jobs. And then to be treated like that is just absolutely soul destroying. It's not a reflection on us, it's a reflection on the company. And that's what makes it harder to bear. And I mean, using the COVID then as well as a smokescreen. I mean, we are of the opinion that they were gearing up to do this when Brexit happened, and COVID literally landed in their lap and they ran with it.
One of the guards outside the Patrick Street store was telling me that they asked the workers to kind of barricade up the doors and everything like that, because they were saying that there could be looting because of COVID, but it was actually because they were building a barrier to keep yourselves out whenever they were after kicking us out.
Yeah. I mean, they got in the stores, around the 11 stores, they got staff members to pack up all valuable stock. So say high value items like Levi's, cosmetics and stuff like that. They're all packed up and toted up in the stock rooms and in the loading bays. They got them to barricade the doors up with cages and stuff like that. The loading bays were jammed up with cages and pallets and totes and everything like that. And again, it was under the guise that it would be for looting. But I mean, like that, it wasn't until people, and I mean, we were gullible. We accepted that. We had no reason not to accept that. And then a couple of days later, when the jobs were gone, and then information started trickling in, and when we were rooting for different stuff, information was coming to light, and we were like, okay, this was all premeditated. Yep. We literally were used and abused by the company. And it was a very bitter pill to take. Very, very bitter. We are very, very hopeful and optimistic that after our endeavours the last couple of days, and I mean, it hasn't been easy. It has been very, very difficult. I mean, I'm a smoker. And I have had nowhere to smoke since yesterday morning when they nailed the windows shut. So it has been very, very difficult. We got 19 minutes sleep, I think, during the night. So since we came in here yesterday morning, most of us have gotten maybe an hour and a half hours sleep. That's it. That's what we're going on. And I don't think tonight is going to be much better, to be honest. But look, I mean, they're the measures we're willing to take. If it prevents any staff member from enduring and having to go through the same as what we have gone through, it's going to be worthwhile.
And did you say that they nailed up the windows? Yes,
they nailed all the windows shut in the canteen yesterday.
What was the reason for that?
Well, we did gain access through one of the windows yesterday, but we were smoking out the window.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were confined to the canteen, so we did smoke. We were sitting on the windowsill smoking outside, and then they barricaded up all the windows. They nailed them all shut.
And like, so just as you mentioned the sleep, where were you trying to sleep last night?
On the floor in the canteen.
Wow. That's mental, isn't it?
Like I said, I mean, I wouldn't want anyone else to go through this. It's not nice. It is bloody hard. It really is hard. I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't expect to be as hard as what it actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, even the physical restraints. I mean, we came in here to do an occupation. it is now turned out like we're in house arrest because we can't move. We are confined. I mean, it's not a walk in the park. We are confined to one room. We have the windows nailed shut. So we have to open doors to get air circulating because it gets too hot. We can go into the toilet and then the toilets are being checked after us. I mean, we are being babysat. We have security staffing with us all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally cannot move an inch. We came in to do an occupation and it is now like we are in house arrest.
Yeah, so like if that's not enough for people to get behind you, I don't know what is like. So is there going to be a demonstration tomorrow on Thursday whenever you come out?
We are coming out tomorrow around lunchtime, and as far as I'm aware, there's going to be a rally at 1:00 as well. So we should be out around that time. And I mean, like that, we are hoping that as many people can come in and support us as is possible. And again, an opportunity for us to thank everyone for the support and all the well wishes that we've received while we are in there. And the support has been absolutely amazing.
Yep. Unreal. Well, I'll be down there anyway. I'll see us coming out.
Make sure, do please make sure to come up so I can thank you. I can thank you in person for the interview.
Carol, thanks a million.
Okay. And thanks so much. Thanks very much for all your time.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Stan.
Bye. Bye-bye.